Wish me luck.
So we're back for another video. Today I'm going to be cutting the forms, mixing and pouring the concrete for the first time ever. I've never mixed any concrete before, never poured any. So as you can see, I'm measuring out the first piece of form, which should be a relatively easy task, which I made extremely difficult by putting the end of the tape measure on the end of the piece of wood. I got distracted by a phone call. The tape moved. I cut the wood and the wood was too short, so although I think I give you a thumbs up here, that piece of wood is too short. After a little bit of witchcraft, I managed to get the piece of wood that was too short for the long section that I needed. I made that into the shorter section, which you can see here, and I bought these little, you can see there, little blue clamps. I've seen people using these. I think they're a ingenious idea. So I've driven my stakes into the ground. I've got my spirit level, obviously levelled it up with the stones on the right hand side, and then clamped it, and I was able to then screw the screws through the form, which you will notice that I have actually screwed the screws in from this side, which I didn't even think about this at the time. If I'm screwing the screws in at this side, once the concrete has gone off, how am I going to get the screws back out? Because they're going to be in the concrete. Well, I'm not, so I'm going to have to I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm sure I'll come up with something. And this is what we ended up with, a small piece of form with some stakes. It's very sturdy. I don't think it's going to have any problems holding the small amount of concrete we're going to put in it. So this is my first ever attempt at mixing concrete. There's a little bit of water in the mixer already, and I had 2 buckets of ballast. Follow that up with a bucket of cement, a bit more water, and then 2 more buckets of ballast, a bit more water, and the final bucket of ballast. And then I have to try and get a consistency that is wet but not too wet, which I think I've managed to get the right consistency. I mean, it did spread pretty easily once I got it onto the ground. But this is a point where I'm just staring at it aimlessly, trying to figure out what I thought was right. I think I got there in the end.
So I've got it in. I've done it. I think it looks alright. It's just the initial pour, and I've levelled it off as best as I can for now. I'm just wait for it to go off. Then I've got some finishing tools. Somebody's lent me this actually, I haven't bought this. Apparently this gets it quite smooth. It doesn't really need to be smooth because it's going under the shed, but I'd like to have a practice. And then I may have a go at the main bit that I'm going to build. It depends what this comes out like, so I'll give it a go. If it's nice and smooth, I'll do it. I mean, it's been hard work. Started at 10 o'clock this morning, finished about 1:30. And I know it's only small, but it's the first time I've ever done anything with concrete. Use the 5 ballast to 1 cement mixture that seems to be what everybody uses. I think some people do use 4, but the majority of people I've spoke to and watched use 5, so that's what I did. I was a bit wary about the water. I didn't know how much water you needed to put in, but I think I've got it right. Some were a bit watery, but it's in and it looks all right. I think it'll probably take a bit longer to dry because it's quite watery. But I'm sat here. It's like my little child. I'm not going away until I've finished it. Yeah, it was hard work. You might have noticed as well that halfway through I put some safety goggles on because it actually spat at me, went all over my glasses and in my eye, which I'm told cement's not really good for your eye. But I'm alright, I can still see. You may also notice as well, and I didn't notice this, that my stakes that I'm using to keep my form in, it's not standard wood. Apparently it's teak, and I'm using teak to keep my form in. They were out of there was an old chair in my garden when we moved in. The majority of it was rotten. You might be able to see just over there in the corner them green things. It was cast iron sides with wooden lats across. Most of them were rotten, but there were some that were alright. And when I saw them, I thought, I'll use them for stakes. They were pretty difficult to cut, and I did cut them by hand with my handsaw. But it was the screwing them into the form that I found difficult. I could get it through the form, but I couldn't get it into the stake. They're just too tough. I mean, the wood is absolutely solid. So I had to drill a pilot hole. So I'm drilling pilot holes in teak stakes to hold my form up. I've got the most expensive stakes on earth. But anyway, they've worked, and I can probably unscrew them and use them again, maybe over there if I decide to do that. So it's in, it's done. I've done it. Well, I say I've done it. I haven't finished it off yet, so I'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like when we've finished it all off.